You know, I'm pretty sure by this point, I'm just the poster girl of a masochistic writer. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Ian Chaffin, author of a lot of books, sort of, and knower of things. And today we are going to dive into a very weird topic for sure. So I'm not gonna lie, this was not on my agenda to do until like a few days ago, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna have to say. So this video isn't about trashing my own work. That can come later when I'm super famous. Yeah. But this video is mainly about helping other writers, whether they have more books than I do, whether they are just beginning or like a whole long way on their journey, helping them figure out that one, all writers make mistakes, no matter how much you have done or how little or anything like that. And two, just because you made a mistake, it doesn't mean you can't fix it, because sometimes you can't. So I'm using myself as an example in this one, but don't worry, there's probably a lot more people out there who have been through all this craziness. I just can't find them right now. They're all hiding. So before we go too far down the rabbit hole and I change my mind about all this, let me tell you why this book sucks and how I'm going to improve it. Oh yes. So this is not the easiest for anybody to say about their own work, but my debut novel kind of sucks. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Most everyone's debut novel probably sucks. Not going to lie. Now, is it everybody's debut novel? No. No. Some people actually did their homework. But now I get to tell you about the loveliness of why my debut novel sucks and what I'm doing about it. Oh yes. So, and I'm not just procrastinating at this part and not going to tell you anything. So, okay. There's one thing you need to understand. This is my baby. This is the first full book I have ever written, ever. So be nice in the comments. The one glaring thing that I remember from this, from writing from this, and the one thing that I'm just like, really? I did that? Is that one of the characters, and actually a couple of the characters, but not all the time, but one of the characters almost all the time, cusses, right? And, you know, this was an adult novel, not an adult novel, but, you know, just a novel in the adult section. You know, it would make sense for that character to cuss, you know, because that's his character. And in all honesty, I don't know where I got that from. I think I know where, but I'm not going to say it. But there was this person that said, you know, not directly to me, but, you know, just said that in books and movies and all that, you know, you want them to be as realistic as possible. And yes, some people, a lot of people, cuss and all that in real life. So it makes sense. And I'm like, oh, indeed. Here's my trip up, though. I don't know why I was like, you know what, that makes sense, and I'm going to put that in my book. Because my book is geared toward young adults. And like me, I'm a grown-up. I'm an adult. I'm short, but, you know, I still count. Yeah, I do read a lot of these young adult books, but they're not for me. They are for young adults. You know, it's kind of like when grown men say something about Twilight. It's like, whether or not you like Twilight, you know, it's up to you. It's your personal taste. But you're not the core audience. So I, as the author, I'll take any and all advice in constructive criticism of my books and all that. But if you're not the core audience and you're like, oh, I didn't like any of it, I'll probably push you towards the side. Just saying. And it's not because I have this complex of, oh, my work is better. It's because you're not the core audience and you hate it anyways, so why should I listen to you? However, when it comes to the cussing part, my core audience is young adult. My core audience is those kids between 13 and 18. And for some odd reason, I get it stuck in my head when I was making this, I should have a character who cusses, right? So there are books out there with characters who cuss and all that, and a lot of them are young adult. A lot of them in that young adult section are for older teens, 16 plus. Or, some people are like, oh, well, 14's old enough. I'm like, no. Until you have taught them in school, you probably, 14 is not old enough. Oh my goodness. Just like manga and anime, 16 plus is usually the older teen section, right? Because of this, I have actually missed out on a lot of opportunity to get my book into school libraries and all that. Because of course the librarian's going to be like, ooh, and not have my book on the shelf. Yeah. Even with the librarian who is in a high school, they may not want it because, the district and all that, which is kind of funny because I've seen some of the books these libraries have because I'm a sub and, I always love looking at the school libraries because I love libraries. But I see some of the books and I'm like, if you only knew what actually went on in that book, you probably wouldn't have it on here for these kids, or you would have it on a top shelf. And to go along with this, I was actually going to have a Bookstagram tour, my first one ever, where I'm not just a participant, but I'm the actual author, right? I was going to have a Bookstagram tour of Loading Life here in April. And this kind of leads into the next part of, I think God has stopped my book from being out there. And I'll explain why. So whether or not you believe in God, he's there and he's still like, disciplines his kids and all that. And I'm one of his kiddos. Hey, sup? You are too if you accept him. Yeah. So me being his kiddo, I've prayed over my books and I prayed that, they'll get out there and all that because I believe that God put me here on this earth to take care of kids. I love children. And so I believe that I should take care of them in two ways, to teach them and to entertain them. So this book centers around a lot of various topics, like not being good enough, not feeling like you're with a team or anything like that, and being the person who's always shoved out of groups and all that just because of the way you look, because of the way people see you and all that. Hiro, he's the character that loves to experience that. Not really. He hates it. So Hiro is that character, right? In this world, brown hair is an oddity, and he's one of those characters where people are like, you don't have a special ability, so you're kind of worthless to us. And whether people know it or not, that's how they treat him until, Annie comes along. It's not a book about her, oh, I can change him. It's a book about them working as a team and realizing that they both have shortcomings and they both have reasons to just want to be themselves and not have to worry about anyone else's thoughts. And there are things that happen in the book. Hiro is messing with the wrong crowd and he shouldn't be. Because of his actions, Hiro actually gets his best friend Root kidnapped and all that. So it's like, oh my gosh, do. And it does play out like an anime would or like a video game would. It is set in a video game world and all that. So there's a lot of things that would interest kiddos 13 to 18. And there's a lot of various topics that I go over that, it is teaching them, but it's also entertaining them. And, they get a look at the world and be like, whoa, this can apply to my world. Because the main thing is that you're special even if you don't know it yet. And just because someone else thinks, oh, you're not special, or they like to tease you about, oh, you're special, you don't have to take it that way. And you don't have to listen to them. You know who you are, and you should stand on that. So, there you go. But it's been blocked. It's been spiritually blocked from getting out there and getting a lot of people to see it. Because I just feel it. I know this is what God wants from me, to help teach kids that they're worth it and they should just go for it and all that. But it's blocked. And I was sitting down one day and I was trying to figure out, why is it blocked, God? Why are you blocking this if you wanted that from me? Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I like is this not what you want me to do, even though I feel like I was born to write? And then one of the Bookstagrammers that I had contacted for my Bookstagram tour messaged me back, and she was like, this seems like a really good book. However, I don't think I can, help you out with it because it has, the cussing and all that. I don't feel comfortable with it. And you know what? That totally, if you don't feel comfortable with doing something, it makes sense not to do it. So, don't feel pressured. She was the one that really opened my eyes. In all honesty, I believe that God worked through her to, tell me, it's like, hey, wake up. Because I pretty much knew this for a long while, that this was probably the reason why my book was doing so bad. And I just wasn't listening, and I just like, it's like, oh no, it couldn't be that, and I went on with my way. Well, God finally knocked me in the head enough to let me see what was wrong with my book. So yeah, so that's why it's the main reason. One of the main reasons is because of the cussing, and because I limit my book and I limit the messages in it because not everyone's comfortable with that. And so I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I am gonna take it off the shelves and redo it. And I just feel like I'm one of the only people out there who do this, but apparently I'm not. Because one of my other lovely, awesome new friends I met on Instagram, yeah, you can meet friends on the internet, just be careful. She was, I was telling her about this and confiding in her because she's an awesome person. She knows who she is. I don't know if I should say her name or not, but I'm just gonna say she exists, and that's awesome. She was telling me about another friend of hers who basically did the same thing with her first novel. Took it off the shelves, reworked it, put it back on the shelves. And I'm like, at least I'm not the only one out there who does this. And so here's where the little lesson part comes in for you all. This is actually going to be the second time I take this off the shelves, because this used to be this. Oh yeah. This cover was done by one of my friends, and he's actually a really good artist, but I don't think his skills were really great for what I wanted. And so, and this was done a couple years ago. He's improved on his own art, and I've improved on my own writing. So yeah, there you go. But this is kind of something I wanted from the get-go, right? And then you can see, I actually put this together. I just had him draw Hiro and Annie, and then do the Devi Omega seal on the back, and it says Devi Omega Academy. You can see, so. And then, in this book, it wasn't just the cover. The reason why I took this one off is because, one, I kind of figured I needed a different cover to get the, Galaxia video game feel on it, because as you can see, it's like there's a lot of differences. My name's up top, and then the it's down bottom really low, but this one is like boom, loading live. There you go, right? But the main difference between these two is that this one I rushed out, and so it wasn't proofread, and this one is proofread, new cover, all that. So let this be a lesson to you all that do not rush it. The reason why I rushed Loading Life was because I was in a position I didn't like, and I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to write. I wanted to write a book. I'm going to actually set my butt down and get a book written and write it all out. The first draft was kind of crappy, and it started to improve and improve and improve. And I think I have like 6 drafts and all that. But I put it all together and bound it up, and boom, Loading Life. And then one of my friends, and she was doing it in a joking way, pointed out that I had spelt the word coach, as in a coach for a team and all that, as couch. And she pointed it out, and I just felt so terrible and bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I was very embarrassed when I first heard it. I'm like, like this was my dream. And I'm like, oh man. And so I took it off. I proofread and all that and fixed a lot of it up. And then I got someone, the only person I really trusted on Fiverr, to do the cover and all that. And I got this done. And, so these two are the same books, except for the cover is a little bit different. And this one is fully proofread. And then, I did the back and all that. You all know this. I still rushed it. I really did. Because I should have stopped and I should have thought, what else could I improve on this book before I publish it again. I should have prayed about it, y'all. You know, it doesn't matter what you think, every which way, you just need to pray to God about things. He's there to love you. He's there to be your friend, be your dad, any person you need him to be in your life. And if I would have just stopped, would have just prayed about it, it would have been better. And it's funny too, because when I made this, I was like still in the baby stages of Christianity. That's a whole different subject too. So in all honesty, I think that's a large portion. Like, I know my writing skills have improved since this, and even when I do rewrite this and all that, my skills will improve even more and all that. But I think this is a step I have to take. My readers and my future readers, this is for you. This is for all those kids who, every time I say something about me writing a book, they're like, oh my gosh, can I read it? And I'm like, no, get parent permission. No. I want to do this for you. I want to do this for all those libraries, whether the public library or the school libraries and all that. I want to do this for you, and I want to do it for me. I want to put my best foot forward, and I want to publish the best Loading Life I can publish. When I do take this off the shelf, 1, get rid of the cuss words. 2, because I'm taking it off the shelf and I don't just want to put the same book up there, I'm going to write more material for the book. So it might be a little larger than this, right? Yeah. I don't know about formatting. I don't know if I'm going to have it bigger, if I'm going to keep it the same and just, have it larger here. I don't know if I'm going to have this version of Annie and Hiro. Sad part is, the person who I hired to draw Annie and Hiro in this way is no longer on Fiverr. And I don't know any which way to contact her at all. She was the best person ever. I've had very bad experiences on Fiverr, and then I came in contact with her and she made it just so much better. So I may or may not redo the cover. It depends on my finances, and it depends on if I can find someone who would be willing to do Annie and Hiro and possibly another cover for a second book. Maybe. So I want you all to know that I'm not just taking off my book and editing it a little bit and putting it back on. I'm taking off my book and I'm going to actually make it a remastered version of itself. Kind of like when people remaster old video games. That's what I'm doing with this. I'm remastering it. So it might be Loading Life Remastered or something. I'm not too sure. But here's the dealio. If you want a copy of this the way it is right now, if you get your parents' permission, or if you're over the age of 18, fill out the form below. It's just a regular Google form. Don't worry, it doesn't send you anywhere crazy. I don't use your email for anything crazy. If you are one of the first 14 people to get your name in, then you get a free copy of this signed. If not, because I only have 14 because I'm keeping one for myself, and that's pretty much it. If you're not one of the 14, or you just want an ebook copy of this version of it, I have the links down below. And if you do want to support me and buy a copy of it, I am going to take these down on Loading Life's birthday. So you have some time between now and then to get yourself a copy. And in the future, if you ever see me at a convention or anything like that, and you want to get this particular version signed and you haven't already, then yeah, I will totally sign it for you. I'm not going to be one of those people who are like, oh, that's the older version. I don't do the older version, because that's silly and stupid. So that's the deal, though. That's the deal. If you want this, I only have 14 to give away, and after that, I don't have any more, and all that's left is whatever you can order from online until I take it off. And I'll have probably a countdown for that. So hopefully that'll give you enough time. If you can't get one of these, then save up a little bit or beg your parents or anything like that. But just know that once these are gone, they're gone. So, yeah. But also know that the newer version, the remastered version, is coming. It won't be this year because I actually have 2 releases I want to release. Yeah, that's how I'm going to say it. I have my first series on the way. I am almost done with the first book in that first series, and it's Pride. And the second book I am also writing, it is Avarice, and I'm hoping to get those 2 out this year. They are a part of the World of Nectere series, and I'm very excited for it because it's a series set in modern day. It has vampires and shapeshifters and magi and fae. It all encompasses around this vampire, and she is very, very excited to bring her sire back from the dead. But everyone's like, oh, no. Do not bring him back from the dead. He is crazy. He will destroy the world. And she's like, gonna do it anyways. So, if you want to know how that goes, I'm going to try to have Pride out by July, and I am very excited for it. Oh yes. And then Avarice will be soon on its way as well, God willing. So I hope you all have enjoyed this episode of mine, and I hope you all are excited for the new adventures I'm going to take you all on. Oh yeah. Not just for this and the new remaster I'm doing, but also for my Pride and Avarice and the rest of that series. Definitely watch out for that. I'll probably post something and be all giddy about it like I am now. And with that all said, I'd like to thank Jamie Barfield. Thank you, Jamie Barfield, for watching and subscribing. And I'll see y'all later, alligators. Bye-bye. There's a lot of things wrong with my book. I think the main this is the ending. I mean, if you're not nice, you know, that's your choice. But I'll also kick you out of the comments. No. My baby. They walked away from the perky girl. Hero's brow furrowing. Okay, never mind.